I had a heart attack playing softball.
I had my heart attack crossing the street.
I had my heart attack during my workout.
Sudden cardiac death is an extremely common problem, occurring about 1,000 times per day in the United States. 1 out of 3 patients, the initial presentation of a major heart problem can just be a sudden death, just out of the blue, without patients having any symptoms or precursor events.
We had been over to New Zealand recently, about a month before this happened. I even climbed what was called Mount Iron at that point. I had no problems, and I didn't really feel like I had a whole lot of problems in the heart area because I did exercise. I used to be religious about it, and of course as I got older it sloughed off, but I didn't view myself as totally out of shape. Well, if I'm playing a triple header, of course not. During the first 2 games, I must not have noticed anything. Get into the 3rd game, and it happened very early in the game. I had a ground ball hit to me. Made the play, threw the guy out at first, and then when I turned around, I just took a face plant in the dirt. Someone from the other team, as well as a person from my team, ran out to help me out. You had people giving directions as well, as far as call 911, go find the AED.
I was 43 years old at the time, a mother of 2 young girls, no history of heart problems at all. I was working at Illinois State University and was very excited to be opening a minority student study center. That morning I got all my supplies together, including the president's podium, and headed over to where we were opening the center. I was crossing the street, and the last thought I had was, I better put this podium down before I drop it. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up in the hospital.
Exercise is very important to me. I've been regularly exercising for about 20 years now. I try to exercise anywhere from 5 to 7 times a week. I felt great at the time it happened. Did a little work in the cardio room on an elliptical machine, and then went to do some light lifting. At about 10:30, I received a text from my wife, texted her back. I've got 1 set left to do of sit-ups, and that's the last thing I remember for 3 days.
With no AED or defibrillation performed with a sudden cardiac death, there's about a 10% chance of survival. There was a study done out of Rochester, Minnesota, where first responders, police cars, ambulances, and fire trucks were equipped with AEDs, and they found that the survival rate went all the way up to 58%. So there's a huge spectrum and change from 10% to 58%. We felt it was really important to try to get this technology implemented in our community.
Call for help.
These are devices that work automatically. The device tells you what to do, and if you follow the instructions from the device, you could potentially successfully resuscitate somebody who's been stricken with a sudden cardiac death.
I was in the right hands at that point in time. Those people out there knew what to do and did it. Saved my life. The AED that was used was actually from the emergency vehicle itself. It was that shock that brought me back to life.
A student crossing the street about the same time I did immediately called 911. They came upon me, the crowd around me in the middle of College Avenue, and began immediately CPR because I didn't have a pulse at that time. That didn't work, so they got the AED out of the ambulance and administered 1 shock, which didn't do anything. The 2nd shock worked.
Well, I was fortunate in that a person who also worked at Four Seasons had gotten off his shift and was working out, saw me laying beside a machine. He started CPR immediately and then yelled for help. 2 lifeguards brought an AED down from the swimming pool area, cut my shirt open, and started the AED process. That got my heart beating again. They kept it going until the EMTs arrived. Sometimes when you haven't had heart function and you don't get the oxygen to the brain, you can have damage. But all indications are I came through that okay. And it was due to the quick action of our lifeguards and their ability to use the AED.
It all has to do with time, and for every minute that you lose from a time of a cardiac arrest, there's a decrease of 10% chance of survival. So by 6 minutes, your chance of survival has already been decreased by 60%. So 10 minutes out, that's 100%. So speed and getting this device to the patient and using it and getting the heart converted as quick as possible is really paramount.
My kids were only 9 and 7 at the time, 2 little girls. I mean, now they're 24 almost and 21, so I'm glad I got to see them be that age.
I now have a granddaughter, and she's just an absolute delight. Life is always worth living, but when you get that first grandchild, it takes it to a whole new level. I'm just so happy to be here and be a part of all their lives and be with my loved ones.